Welcome back to the ShopDog-Garage. I don't have a ton of time, but I got some material that I like. See, it's a nice blue. I have prototyped and made up a little box. Remember, we're going to have that little Trans Temp sensor in the Courier. So, got a couple things I want to do with the few hours I've got today. One, I want to see if we have any leaks. See, we've got a lot of head pressure here, so if there's a generic leak, I'll know because it's been here for a little while. But I want to run some cabling from those two sensors we put right in here. Yeah, right there. Here, you can even see the in and out. Want to get those and power and maybe illumination. I haven't decided if we're going to try to light that or not. Up into the cabin. The box isn't really meant to be a permanent thing. This is for data gathering right now. So it's just a cutesy acrylic box. But in the future, we could make it a more permanent fixture if we wanted. You know, one of the beauties of the laser is it's not that complicated to do this. And then I did put notches top and bottom because, you know, do we want the switch on that side or do I want the switch on that side? Those are all options I have. So we've got a million projects going, but unfortunately, as I've mentioned in other videos, I have an actual job every day, and it's been really busy, and it's been cold. Our snow that was in that pile melted 2 days ago, and the snow that was right there melted 5 days ago. So it is what it is. You know, I had hoped to be a lot further along on the bike and the Courier. In fact, I had hoped to be done with the Courier at this point because we really need to get some road testing on this thing to see if there's any other projects that really need to be addressed. But the most important thing for me is getting this cooling system to seal up. So let's get her up in the air, take a peek. Okay, just put the car up. In our first, don't worry about this dried coolant here. That's where I spilled. What I'm looking for is wet coolant here. Yeah, this is from when I spilled. Remember when it blew over? I can clean all of that. What I don't see is anything wet. And that's great, because we really don't want to. Okay, I'm looking way up. I don't see any leaks up there either. Now, that isn't under pressure, so let's not get too excited, but that's good. The other thing, of course, is, the whole reason we're even up, is now we've got to get those two and a ground. And you can see he's even got an added ground to the, there, you guys could probably see it better like that. So he's added a ground here, which is awesome. I'm glad that exists, because we're going to ground our sensors to that point and, you know, do the inlet and the outlet there, and then bring those up somewhere. That's part of what I got to figure out. But at least I only need 3 conductors, and I think I have some leftover Dakota 3 conductor stuff. And I just got to get it into the cab somewhere. So, you know, I may, yeah, I'll have to see what makes good sense there. It's probably going up to the firewall, though. I don't see any cab entrance points back here, which is not unusual for something this age. So I was hoping there was a wire popping out somewhere I could borrow, but if not, we'll just run it long. Well, I've run into an issue I didn't expect. I've got all my wiring kind of run through. I figured I better start doing some testing. Didn't work. I can come here, and even going straight from that body, I can go to other screws. You see, we get a nice, good continuity. I can even go here and get good continuity. But as soon as I go to that one, forget about it. So I got to figure out how I'm going to ground these sensors. So I'm probably draining the tranny. So that's awesome. But there's got to be a way for me to get those grounded, because that has to happen. Or there's really no point. Didn't expect that. I just assumed that that aluminum to the other piece of aluminum to another piece of aluminum would be more than conductive enough for a low voltage resistor. So that's interesting. Okay, so I just popped that off, and I can go from there to the body, and it's 4K. And if I scratch into the anodize, eventually here, I get my 4K, but not here. So, gotta figure out how I want to do that. There's a solution. It probably is messy. I got a feeling I'm going to be pulling those sensors out and putting something in there that I can ground to. I got to think on that for a while. Alright, I think I have an idea. This is the same sensor we have in there. These fit over that nylon. I hope you guys can see that. And I just resized these, and I'll trim those off, and that'll be a spacer. We can put a nut on there, run some jumper wires, and I think that'll work. Okay, let's try our proof in the pudding here. So if I touch there, look at that. 2.1. And yet here, that'll be 0. There's 2K. Okay, we have a solution. We'll deal with this tomorrow. And before I leave and come back tomorrow, here's what the little box looks like. Obviously I gotta peel the masking and it needs glued up. But yeah, I think I like it this way. So before, after. That'll tell us if that cooler does anything. ShopDog's out enjoying this cold, windy, wet day. Whew. Snow's all melted, but boy, it's still not that great. So we're back. I just set my stuff down. So, like I showed last night, here's basically what our little box will look like. I think that'll be cute and handy. What I've got to figure out is how I want to glue it together, because the weld on that I want to use right here, that's very permanent. That does not come apart. So I'll probably do most of the box with that, but then maybe on the back or something, use a blob RTV or something. I got to think about how we make it so that I can take it apart in the future if I want to. I don't want it to be super duper permanent, because otherwise you can't service it. Okay, so I have the first ground strap up there, and I just checked it. Here, let me grab one. So from the ground lead to our center, 3.36. So that's what we were looking for. Got to do the other one yet, but the stack up's pretty straightforward. We've got a wide washer that fits over it to give us a platform. We've got the little ground wire that I made up, and then on top of that we have our little plastic isolator, a washer, and a nut. And then for the actual signal line, it'll just be, you know, a lock star and a nut. So that should work. All right, this is such a fun place to work. But there we have our two wires and our little associated grounds. And I'm going to come over here and test them. Make sure I'm happy with it. But I cannot for the life of me see why this wouldn't work pretty cool. Okay, so here's where we're at. We start here. We duck in, we go across this tube, we pop out of that tube, hopefully you guys can see that, come out and around, go up the chassis, and then up where everything is running right here. And then that is right there. So, let me drop the truck back down and take a peek. Okay, so here is our sensor wires. Here's where they're coming up. They're most likely going in this grommet up here, which of course means, once again, the dash is coming back out. And for like the 10th time. So we'll get that back out. And then what I think I'm going to do is find a connector that I like and put the 2 sensor wires, a ground, a ignition source, and the feed wire for the dimmer knob. You know, so whenever we have the illumination on, this shows up. I think we'll do that. And then when this gets put together, we'll have a cable of some length coming out that'll go to a connector, and then I'll have a connector up under the dash that has all those, so that one, it's easy to remove or change in the future, but 2, if we decide we need longer cables or something, then we can do it. Yeah, that's definitely the direction we're going to go. We're going to take these 2 and a couple other signals and put a connector up under the dash for our little box, which in theory is temporary. It is just a tool for us to learn with. Oh yeah, folding this is interesting. You gotta get that one kicked up and then go to the other side and kick that up, and then you can fold it. So I don't know if, yeah, the other side already locked, and now this side relocked. It's an interesting approach, but remember, these were very, very, very inexpensive vehicles at the time. And ShopDog says he wants another pretzel. See, old pretzel boy is relaxing. Okay, let me grab a light and show you what we're doing. So that's now coming up. I'll get one more zippy on there to make sure that never hits the steering gear. We got it coming up and in. When we come in here, you can see we're now run through the same grommet we ran all of our sensor wires through. Luckily there was enough room. And here's a little trick that I recommend. Took the end of a zip tie, taped it on there like a fish, and then that allowed me to poke that between those wires a lot easier to, or well, they're not actually wires, they're cables, but to poke it through there and get that through. So a lot easier to slide that through than trying to jam 2 wires or folding them over or anything. So that worked pretty slick. Okay, we now have that all tied in, and we have a connector hanging somewhere. Here it is. So here's our connector. There's our 2 sender wires, switched ignition, ground, and dimmer switch. So we've got that. Now let's keep moving. And I want to address things that I didn't do, including whatever's going on there. It seems fine, so I'm not going to change it, but I did not do those connections. Other people have worked on this in the past. Well, 2 things. One, turns out I don't really like the teal, which is good. My glue spilled. So this is a temporary box, so I didn't even put the back on it. You can see here's our connections. There's our extension cord. This should reach a lot of places, and there's some tape stuck to it. But this at least gets us a test while I decide what I'm going to build this out of now. I'm not sure. I thought this teal would look so cool. It looks terrible next to the truck. Okay, ShopDog's over here inspecting my work, and he's not real happy because this box got ruined. But that's okay, because I don't think it's the shape I'm going to want anyway. Either which way, it's easy enough to change all that. You just unplug it and put it on something new. I think I will cut something that actually just wants to sit here a little easier. Because like I said, it is a temporary thing, but I want it to still work and be useful. Don't know how long we're going to be gathering data. But you can see here's that connection. I'm pretty happy with how that came out, and I guess you really can't see it. I need to give you some light. So there you go. Yeah, this is really coming out. Okay. So see, it's not that bad, buddy. Okay, let's find out what happens here. We have a battery. I don't remember if that pump runs right away or not. Ugh. Okay, let's see. Sparkies? No sparks, that's good. And, well, little sparks. Do we run the pump? Apparently not. Okay. Alright, let's turn the key on. Okay, we got lights. Key is on. We measured temperature. I don't know if you guys saw that. So now go back to off. We measured temperature again. Okay, we are cycling, which is what I thought would happen. So I've got to add some coolant. I'll be right back. Okay, I just wiped up the mess I made. So now we're topped off. I can hear the pump running. So this will be purging the rest of the air from the system. That's one thing that's nice. Okay, so that just ran for quite a while. Not going to be pressurizing it right now. Just looking to see what's going on. I'm very happy though that the gauge worked. Okay, what if I turn... Crap, how do I turn the lights on? I don't even remember in this car. Well, that's interesting. See, this was an air flap. This is a switch I added for, you know, how we wanted the interior lights to work. That's a cigarette lighter. And the lights are on the column. And unhappy because I don't have the front lights on. I don't know if we can see if that's on or not. Oh, it is. Okay, let me turn that back off. Hard to tell. We'll find out when it's darker in here. But yeah, I forgot that was there. But remember, I don't have the front lights all hooked up. So I've got headlights, but I don't have turn signal lights. And see, it gets freaked out because it's telling us there's a problem. Because they're in, well, they're laying right there. Because the last thing I wanted to do was pull that thing 2 or 3 times. Okay, so turn that off. Okay, see how that went down? Watch that. Yeah, those sensors work. I'm very happy about that. Okay, so we just bled the system. I think we're going to give it some more gravity time. Looking for leaks. Besides, I gotta wipe up what I spilled. I don't know how with that funnel. I still spilled everywhere. Alright, I think we're gonna close out for the weekend here. Was gonna try starting it and doing all that and pressurizing it, and then I remembered that. So none of my funnels seem to fit that tiny aftermarket opening. So yeah, see, this is how little that is. So I'll have to get another funnel or find another solution. I don't really feel like cleaning that and doing that as a transfer. So I think that's going to wrap it for today. Let's turn the key on one more time and let that cycle one more time, because it certainly isn't hurting anything. I love seeing that move. That makes me happy. So we're a little low on fuel. Didn't realize that. Okay, she's running. I realize we're not under pressure at the moment, but hey, every little bit. So with any luck, there won't be any leaks. Because remember, this leaked even without pressure because that gasket had failed. You know, it's only brand new. Why would I expect that to work, right? So anyway, we're going to call this a courier video. ShopDog's anxious. The wind has really picked up, and that tree, I know you guys don't know about it. There's a tree over there that's gone over, and it's rubbing the roof. So one of these days I'm going to have to trim that limb. In fact, yeah, you can hear it squeaking. So anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Oh, please like, comment, and subscribe.